Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday morning, and I'm out here in the greenhouse this morning doing a little bit of work. We had a cool front come through last night. We got some rain, which was much needed. Of course, I watered the flower beds most of the day yesterday, so when that happens, we normally get rain. But that's okay, because we really need the rain. I was out here. I purchased. I'm into begonias right now. That's my thing. I like begonias. I purchased what's called a Rex Begonia. I have one on the front porch that I also purchased that is more purple and the leaves are more curled. But this one is called Red Splash. And they love deep shade, so I keep them on my front porch. I get a little bit of morning sun, but I keep them where they're not in direct sun. Well, begonias are very fragile. Now, let me set this out of the way here. And when I was potting it, I broke off some leaves. Of course, I'm going to try to propagate them. Now, to propagate a Rex Begonia, what I've seen on YouTube is to cut the leaf right down the middle. So I'm going to start at the tip with my knife, and I'm going to come right down the middle and stop at the stem. So I've cut it right down the middle, and then the guy said to just peel it like that. So there must be something to do with where that stem is, but then he said you can cut off that stem. So I'm going to just cut it off. Might just leave a little bit because I don't know, I never have done this before. So I'm just going to leave a little bit of stem there. And I have some rooting hormone, which is very, important for some plants. There's lots of different varieties. I poured a little bit in the lid just to make it easier. And what he said to do was to roll the leaf. So I'm going to start here at the tip. And I'm just, it's kind of like bending. I'm going to start at the other end. Let me see. I'm just going to roll the leaf. That's what he said to do. And dip it in the rooting hormone and stick it in some soil. Now they need a lot of humidity, so it's just kind of curled, and he said it's just curled right there. He said that's important for some reason. I don't know, we'll see. So I'm going to roll my leaf. So I'm thinking the roots are going to come from that end that you cut. I've seen them also just lay them on soil, and I'll show you some of those in just a minute that I've done. So I'm going to, I have a couple more leaves there, and when I'm just going to put them all in one pot and see what happens. I do have what's called an eyelash begonia. Let me see. I've got a huge one on the front porch that I purchased, and it has little blooms like a regular begonia you might plant out in your yard, and they're kind of peach. But this is the leaf, and on the edge of the leaf are little hairs, and so I guess that's why they call it an eyelash begonia. Well, this was just a cutting I made. This is part of a stem I stuck in some soil, and they say that roots are supposed to form. But then I also looked up another way, if you have an eyelash begonia, is you cut, you leave a couple of inches on the stem there, and you insert it at a 45-degree angle. And then what happens is right here, little roots, and I think that might, no, I see some little bitty roots start to form, and it takes a while. You have to keep them moist. We live in a very humid climate, so I don't have to worry about humidity and putting a bag on them. I just mist them and keep them in a tray, and if I see that they're getting dry, I'll soak them in some water there. A few weeks ago, I made some cuttings. I trimmed an impatient that I was making a basket out of, and I took the cuttings and put them in a pot, and I showed them to you. And now here they are. Look how much they've grown. A whole lot. So I'll be making me another basket there. Also, I had a friend that's got a bush. I made some cuttings. It's a huge bush. It has a really pretty yellow flower on it. I've trimmed my poinsettia. Now, you may have one of those poinsettias laying around. and you need to trim it. So I left about 4 inches of stem on there, and then I just put the cuttings. And look, this one's growing really well. That's how they do it in the nursery. That's just one cutting stuck down in there in that soil. So if you got a poinsettia, trim it up there. I have my neighbor has this purple, it's called Purple Heart. It's a Jew variety, I guess, and I went and she lets me go over there and break some off, and I'm going to start those. I've got them sitting in water. A lot of succulents. Oh, now I splurged for my birthday, and I went and it's a grafted desert rose, and it's going to bloom on the top there. So I've got to put this. I have a little cactus garden I'm starting, or a little area with succulents and cactuses. So I'm going to pot that and put that out there. Also got at my nursery that's nearby some Plumeria. Now I've got Plumeria in a pot that I've had for several years, and it's never bloomed. And she said, feed it. You got to feed it with a high middle number plant food. So I've sprinkled some of that in there, and we'll see. But you just buy these sticks of Plumeria here. It's just like a stick. They break it off. They let it scab on the end there, and I have just stuck it in some potting soil, and they're going to have some blooms here. I got 2 of them. So I think one of them's kind of a pink color maybe, and one of them's more red. So I'm hoping, I've tried for years to get to work with Plumeria, and I just haven't. I have a friend that has some down at her beach house along the coast, and she says they just bloom all the time. So I guess they like it down there. So I've got a lot more work to do before it gets warm again. So we're having some really nice cool weather right now. So hope y'all have a great Wednesday. Bye, y'all.